So let me show you guys what I've been playing for Tri-Brigade, and I think it's very interesting to talk about because it's something that we haven't really seen in Yu-Gi-Oh very often. And I think crossout kind of brings this differentness. So this is going to be really weird, and I apologize because I already know I'm going to get a lot of hate on this, but I really like this list. It's worked a lot. How is a Plunder player? Am I better than him? You guys are pretty much the same. He's a good player. His name is Will. We played Tri-Brigade is actually just like a really bad matchup just because I know how to play against the deck, and like bad Tri-Brigade players like will make like the Omen and stuff like early on, and they can just chain and just make the Xyz to like banish, you know, like if they're smart, they're not going to play into that until they have like lethal and stuff. And I played really, really well against him. But without further ado, let me show you guys this list. This shit is crazy. Okay. Yes, there are about there's about 21 one-ups in this deck list. Now, okay, so here is my theory behind this so I can explain to you guys before you guys give me shit on this. So when you're playing Tri-Brigade, right, most of the combos are one-card combos, right? Like if you have Fractal, that's pretty much one-card combo. If you have Rescue Cat, that's one-card combo, right? You can jam a bunch of hand traps and just play it like that. But the reason why I'm playing a bunch of one-ups is one, because of crossout designator, and two, because a lot of these one-ups are like power one-ups, right? Like if you think about the hand traps, it's like YC Seattle all over again. So listen, so the theory behind this is that you're playing a bunch of one-ups that are all power one-ups, right? And this is the first list. I'll show you the updated list that I did and why I did it today. So I changed it up from yesterday. This was yesterday's list. So yeah, this is crazy, right? Like okay, so I only have 2 designator, otherwise I'd be playing 3. Yeah, I only have 2. I have opened almost 2 cases and have only pulled 2 because I am so unlucky when it comes to opening packs. But and I just got a 3rd tactics yesterday, and then I pulled 1 today. That's why I have 1 extra. But okay, yeah, I got you. So this is just so sexy. Thanks. So I went undefeated both days, and everything I only changed stuff from yesterday to today, and I'll tell you guys the reason once I get to today's deck list. So for yesterday's deck list, here's my theory. So Droll, because it's a shutout, because I can't extend and all my extenders aren't live, and it's also really good because if you cross out the Droll, you can also tactics, and tactics and crossout work super well with each other, because if you also get tactics, you can also cross out during your opponent's turn to stop the tactics, which is super important because the 2 cards that shit on Tri-Brigade right now that are in the main deck are Droplet and Tactics, and a lot of players are playing it. The thing that sucks is that if they Droplet and they send a spell, you can't respond with crossout, right? But it's still there, right? Because most of the time they're only sending 1, maybe 2. And they usually have to deal with an Appaloosa first, right? So you just don't force the Omen until you have to. Ash, because there's a lot of times that, like, you need the Rescue Cat to resolve, obviously. It's also a very popular hand trap. Effect Veiler, because it stops the effects to banish. Ghost Spell, because there's times where you're playing around multiple hand traps and you're in the grind game. And there's also a lot of boards where you can just end on, like, the level rank 3. Where's it at? You can end on Rugal plus Ancient Warriors with crossout, so you can cross out the Bell if you need to. Skullmeister, because this card has been becoming a lot more popular recently, and it's also really good against prank kids. And this card is actually super good because it stops any card effect, not just a monster effect, which comes up a lot. Nibiru, obviously, because it's Nibiru, you're going to get Nibiru'd. If you can play out of it, you hold on to it to the end phase, and on your turn, you can use out crossout if you need to. The alpha one of is not for crossout, but mostly for the Tri-Brigade quick play spell, which I personally love. I think this card is very, very good, but I don't want to play multiples because then I had to play more of a bricky deck, right? This card is searchable by Bearbrum, which most of the time, if you play this deck correctly, you're making the Bearbrum correctly. You're searching for this, so on your turn you have an extender, and this also lets you play around Torrential if you have an effect that you can activate as Chainlink 1 For example, like Foolish Burial or Tenki, right? And you can chain the Airborne Assault to special while you have Omen, so you can make the Torrential miss timing so that you don't lose to the Torrential, or you can at least resolve your Omen without having to get blown out. Also lets you kill your opponent too, which is super important, and it's also like another extender for your deck. Impermanence, again, same thing as what's up? Yes, because Alpha is an extender. Alpha's an extender, and it is also searchable off of Omen if you have 8 or more banish, which is super important because when you get into the grind game with this deck, you usually have a bunch of banish, and Alpha is one of the most biggest blowouts in the grind game whenever you play against like other decks, right? Like if you're gonna blow somebody out, it's because you're bouncing Alpha, and you're also using Alpha to bounce like your kit back to your hand, and not just Alpha, because you can target multiple. And if you're just like getting rid of the extra deck resources, most of the time you're winning, especially in the mirror match. Yo mama, yo, what's up, Boulder? um yeah, so here's the other thing that I had to think about, because when I was testing Crossout first, I was playing 3 Desires, right? So when I was playing 3 Desires, I realized that it's really bad because you're playing a bunch of 1-ofs, right? And with Crossout, you're not going to be able to do a lot of these, like a lot of things that you really want to do with the deck. For example, like resolve Crossout or see the resources and be able to grind, right? The reason why you play 1 Desires is because you want to see the 1-of, but you only ever want to resolve it once. On top of that, you can also cross out your opponent's desires if you banish the 1 from your deck, which is super important, again, in the grind game. This deck's kind of like mid-rangey, kind of reminds me of Salad in a sense, but with more like OTK potential, I would say. Prosperity, because Prosperity is one of the best pots in the deck, but I realized that Tactics was more impactful than Prosperity, so I cut it down to 1, because a lot of other players are playing Prosperity, again, for crossout, which comes up a lot too. It's also just another power 1-of. Forbidden Droplet, obviously, because it's Droplet, it's a good out for Crossout. It's also just really good to have in the deck. Twin Twisters, because there's times where you get blown out by Twin. If you need to during the end phase, most of the time you're holding Crossout in your hand for end phase effects and not using your opponent's turn if you need to, or if you're scared, right? Like if your opponent's in top deck mode and you have Crossout in hand and you set Revolt, like you just hold a Crossout. And if they have Twin, they discard the last card in their hand, and then you're able to just activate Crossout, you resolve Revolt, and that's going to get you more of an impact. Call by a Grave, because it's just insane, just most broken. The reason why I main deck Mystic Mine is because there's a lot of Mystic Mine players at our locals and that are known, and a lot of people are just playing it for set rotation as well, and it comes up too. When you can cross out the Mystic Mine and just try and kill them, it's insane. It's just perfect, because like this deck, you can just kill them in 1 turn if you need to. You can also just get rid of the Mystic Mine if you need to for that turn. Or you can like lock them if you need to for whatever reason. 2 crossouts because I only have 2. The Lightning Storm is because I saw a lot more players having more access to Lightning Storm due to the reprint. So it's very easy. Yo, what's up, Jen? How you doing? The 2 Tactics is because I only had 2 at the time, and I think Tactics is one of the most insane cards in this format because everybody's playing hand traps, and the decks that aren't, when you go second, Tactics is so powerful when you play against Dragon Link, Drytron, or even the mirror match. Like the card's just so insane. It's really good this format. If you're playing against a back row deck, you're going to win because you can usually outgrind them, especially when you're playing like the Alpha. It's just a blowout. The Airborne Assault I already explained. I only play 2 Rescue Cat because I don't really like Rescue Cat, but it's a 1 card starter in the deck that you like to see, and it lets you play under Lancia, so I like playing 2 in the main. I don't like playing a 3rd one because I start bricking with the deck, and that's the issue that you have, right? You don't want to brick in a deck that you're playing a bunch of 1-ofs, so you had to play like power 2-ofs, or decks that cards that you play at 3 are because they're too insane. For example, Fractal, Kit, and Nerval, right? And Revolt. They're all the best cards in the deck, so those are the ones you want to max out at 3. I play 1 Ready Fusion and 1 Instant Fusion is because my target is a level 5. It is an extender. It also comes up to where if you play against Dragon Link and you have Ready and Instant Fusion for whatever reason, right? If one of them gets hot redded, you can activate the other one and still do the same effect instead of just playing 2 Ready Fusions. On top of that, it gives you more of a versatile effect for crossout. If you play against like Drytron and they're playing Instant Fusion for whatever reason, you could, like for the Millennium Eyes, you can also just cross out the Instant Fusion. 2 Corrals because I think 3 is too bricky, especially with this amount of monsters that you have in your deck. I think it's perfect. You're usually searching it if you have the extender in your hand to be able to discard, and only in situations that you need it. And then Tenki's broken, and then Foolish was a last minute adder. I realized that it was another card where you can 1 card combo, and it's very good because you can just send Kit, send Nerval, and search, and just be able to go. Damn, you're home, Sag. Oh shit, what's up, Collins? So that's the main deck. Side deck. Here is, and this card is honestly, I feel like a lot of people are gonna start playing this, and I think this card is insane in Tri-Brigade. So I played Salamangreat Heatleo in my Tri-Brigade deck, and here's the reason. With the popularity of, for example, at Inception, he's been playing a lot of Medoche, and a lot of decks have been main decking Gozen Match, right? So you're out to Gozen Match, it's to summon Fractal or summon Kit, and banish for 2 into Bearbrum. By then, they're usually going to Rivalry or Gozen Match you, right? Depending on which one you have. If they have Rivalry, then you can send Bearbrum and you can resolve it. If they chain it to the effect of Fractal or Kit, if you have Fractal, you can special summon Darumidal to out it. Or if you have Bearbrum and they flip Gozen on this, you can use your Bearbrum and your Fractal or Kit to go into Heatleo. On top of this, you're able to chain block your search effect to search for Revolt, so you can still omen on your opponent's turn. So you can go Chainlink 1 Bearbrum, Chainlink 2 Heatleo, spin the back row, and search, so you still have a Revolt search. This card was sighted in almost every time, and every time I sighted this card in, I took out the Flower Wolf, which is the Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion target, and I sighted out the Ready Fusion and Instant Fusion. Pinkertops is just a power one of. It's so good. The card's just insane going second. If you play it against a back row deck, it's really good. Like, nothing left to say. 2 Atlantia. I didn't like 3. I kept bricking with 3. I started realizing that the more and more I played, the only cards that I want to play 3 of are cards that are blowouts or cards that are the best cards in the deck. With that being said, I did play Droll, 2 more Drolls and 2 more Nibs. Because these are blowout cards. Against combo decks, you want to have Nibiru, and I get same thing with like Droll, right? There's so many like control decks that search a lot, or rogue decks that search a lot. Yo, what's up, Riley? How you doing today? And then the other cards I played, so I played 2 Retaliating and 2 Contact. The reason behind this is because Retaliating, you can side against Drytron because of Nova and because of Meteonis, and everything gets banished, and it usually just shuts them off for the whole turn because it can't really usually do much after that. And if they do pop the Retaliating C and you're playing against, for example, Prank Kids, you can search for Contact C right after, which is insane too. Contact C is mostly for Prank Kids and for the mirror match, because in the mirror match, when you have Contact C, you can normal summon a Tri-Brigade. They use the effect for cost, right? And then they summon. On that summon, you're able to just special summon Contact C to the side of the field. They cannot link summon, so they have no access. They have to hard draw the Revolt, and even then, they usually only have 2 to 3 Beast Warriors, so they can't even omen on your turn as well. This card's usually a blowout as well. Was thinking about playing 3, but I didn't have the side deck room because I decided to side in Twin Twisters, a second Droplet, and a Lightning Storm. The second line, it's because of all the back row decks, and Lightning Storm's actually really good in the mirror match because you're stopping Appaloosa because it's always in attack mode, and all their link monsters are in attack mode, so you're usually able to blow them out with that card. It also stops them from, if they play Strike or whatever back row. It's also just really good against back row decks. Extra deck, I played Amirage, obviously. I made a joke at locals that my deck was Salad Brigade because I played Heatleo and Almirage, which are both Salamangreat monsters. So those of you guys who don't know, I did get 2 YCS tops with Salamangreat, so it's my spirit animal. I played the Darumidal for out to Rivalry. It's also really good to be able, in the grind game, if this card destroys a monster by battle, you can add one of your banished beast warrior, or wing beast, and back to hand. So in this deck, if you do banish the Flower Wolf and you have Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion, you can put it back in your extra deck, and then you can activate it again if you really need to. So you still have the utility to be able to do everything in this deck that you really can. It also comes up to where when you're in the grind game again, you can, like, if you start using alpha and for whatever reason they strike or whatever, you can banish it, add it back to your hand. Same thing with Fractal, Karaz, Nerval, and Kit. All those cards are addable. And then I play the Ancient Warriors. This card's another out to Rivalry. You can banish 2 normal summon Fractal Banish 2, special summon this, summon from your hand, bounce the Reverie back to the hand, but it doesn't get rid of it. But it is a card that you can activate on your opponent's turn afterwards, and it's also 1600, which is very, very good for this deck. The Asa is because I'm playing Retaliancy. When you special Retaliancy on your side of the field, our cards get banished as well, and you need a way to be able to link it away. So the best way that I saw was to play Asa, because there's also a lot of players that will contact see the Tri-Brigade matchup very, very early on the normal summon, so they can't even attempt to go into the link plays, right? And with what also allows you to do, especially when you're playing like Instant Fusion, Retort Fusion, and you're playing the Tri-Brigade spell card, is you're able to make Asa. You can Asa special summon back the contact C back to your side of the field, and then you can link away with your extender to make Appaloosa. It's also just really good to end on if you're like getting like impermed and you don't want to end on just like Rugal or Bearbrum, right? Because then it allows you to search for Karaz or Rescue Cat if it's destroyed by card effect or by battle. Yo, Alvin, Stream Beast stuff. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it, bro. Welcome in. I play the Hurrah. The Desperate Doommingle is the card. This card is really good against Striker, and I started seeing a lot more Striker at my locals. There's always at least one player that always plays it. This card, Outing Ray, is really good. If you play against Drytron too, it's just really good to be able to get rid of all the resources in their graveyard and put it back so they don't have a follow-up. Plus, if their opponent has no monsters and you're playing against a back row heavy deck, it's just 4,800, so it also allows you to kill your opponent. It's also Wing Beast, which is good because you can normal summon Nerval under Rivalry, special summon the Desperate Doommingle, and then make Omen, which actually did pop up in locals, so that actually did happen for me. Appaloosa because Appaloosa. I've been thinking about playing a second one and maybe cutting the Ready Fusion and stuff, but I haven't really found not really the time, but not really like the right way to go about it to playing the second Appaloosa. I kind of wish there was a different way for us to play Tri-Brigade and be able to cycle back our resources, which is kind of what Darumidal kind of does for the deck a little bit, but not as much as you really want to. You can't play Adverse because everything gets banished. Access codes is access codes. This is how you kill your opponent. Also just a blowout. Card's insane. 1 Bearbrum, 2 Ferigi, 1 Rugal, 3 Omen, and the Flower Wolf. So this was locals. I went was it 3-0? I think it was 3 rounds. It was 8 players. And I have the breakdown here as well. Let me pull it up. So there was at this locals, there was 1 Tri-Brigade, which is me, 1 Drytron, 1 Virtual World, 1 Beatron, 1 Salamangreat, 1 Infernoble, and 1 Trains. I think I'm missing one more. There's one other deck, I think. And I got first, and I played against Trains in the finals and beat them. So going on to the next locals, which is today. This is the difference between today. So today I played 41 cards. And this is my list. And I changed it up. And this is due to based on theory and due to cards that I actually started getting more access to. So I took out the Mystic Mind because I felt like I didn't need a main deck. There was a lot of times where I was dead in my hand game 1, and like if you're not playing against the deck, it's not really doing much. It's really cool because if you do draw the Mystic Mind, you can pop it with Darumidal if you have the same amount of monsters, so you're able to still pop a back row, which is really cool. I bumped up the draw to 3 because I started thinking that there was going to be a lot more combo, and I was right. There was a Drytron, there was a Plunder deck, which Draw is also very good against. There was 2 virtual decks, and Draw is really good against that deck too. Nibiru is good against that deck, but it's only good in combination of another card, so I didn't really want to max out on it, whereas Draw's just really good right off the back. I concur. Was that Plunder playing anything interesting that caught your eye? No, I mean, it was just standard Plunder. I gave him some ideas. Yo, what's up? What's up, Selena? How you doing? No, but so I was telling the Plunder player that he should try Retort Ready Fusion with Rare Fish, so that he's able to make Bahamut Shark, so he can make Toad easier, and it enables him to like have an extender for his play. It's also level 4 extender, so you can synchro into Dragite if you really need to early. It also lets you play under Gozen. I also told him that he should, yeah, no worries. I was also saying that you could also use it under Gozen. The only thing that it doesn't play around is Rivalry because they're all fiends, but it's still really good to just play both of those cards because, sorry, yeah, it's still really good to play both of those, the Rivalry in the deck because Rivalry is really good. If you get Gozen match, you can make Drag Eye. If you hope to reveal Nibiru, you can bounce it back. You also just have like a spell or trap card negate every turn. It's really good. Plus, it's a 3k beat stick. But going back to this deck list, I was playing 3-draw. All the hand traps are pretty much still the same. All the ratios are pretty much the same. I bumped up the tactics to 3 because I started realizing the more and more I played that if you have tactics and cross out, like you're getting to draw 2. You're also allowing to see your opponent's hand if you really need to, if you already have all the resources. Plus, it's another pot of greed without having to do very much besides your opponent activating a monster effect. If your opponent's not activating a monster effect and you're be able to full combo with this deck, you usually have the best follow up out of every deck in the format. Yeah, everything else is still the same except I played 41. I took Mystic Mind to the side. I took Lightning Storm to the side. I added in the 3rd tactics and 2 draws. And what else did I take out? Took out one other card. Hold on. Took out the Lightning Storm, took out the Mine. Oh no, I played 41. The side deck did change a little bit. Pretty much I put the other Lightning Storm in the side. I put Mystic Mind to the side, bumped up the draws, and kept pretty much everything else the same. And everything's pretty much the exact same thing from yesterday, except I think that the 3 draws is more impactful. It was also really good at this tournament because I was able to resolve Crossout Designator a lot. I even got Skullmeister today in the finals against Cyberdragon, and I was able to cross out, and he was not expecting me to even be playing Skullmaster or expect it. And the reason why I started playing Skullmaster is because I saw a lot of other people start playing as a budget option, especially out of like a locals, right? You have to, the thing about Crossout Designator is you really have to think about like what your meta at your locals is going to be so that you can play accordingly, right? If nobody at your locals can afford droplets, you should not be playing droplet in your main with crossout, right? You should be playing something like Mystic Mind. It's a cheaper option. At my locals, a lot more players are starting to afford Lightning Storms because they're like only $40 when they were like 100 and something before the reprints. And with it not being reprinted in the Megaton, I know my locals is like fiending for that right now. So it changes it up. Other than that, yeah, that's pretty much